He's been a member of the Snowbuster Ski Club of Pasadena since 1991 and is currently the Vice President of Membership for the Los Angeles Council of Ski Clubs. He also serves as the Operations Improvement Chair of the Western Region of the National Brotherhood of Skiers, where he serves as treasurer. Please welcome my buddy, Mr. Todd Hood.
Thank you, Jane. And thank you, Far West Ski Association, for letting me talk to you one more time. So I must not have turned you off last year, so we'll try to do so this year. No, today we wanted to talk about making love to your members and really show you the value that you bring as far as clubs and councils and the Far West Ski Association. And when I said making love to your members, some people misunderstood. We're not talking about that type of sex. What we're talking about today is truly making love mentally and emotionally to your members. I do want to let you know that, and I think I said a little bit about it last year, but I want to let you know that you do make a huge impact on the lives of those people who come on your trips and those people that participate in your organizations. Does anyone know somebody that got married to someone that they met through your club or through your organization? That's amazing. There it is. That was not in my notes. But it's almost as though you're feeding me, because you're going to see some things here that will surprise you. Oh, you did? Well, let's move on, because we can talk about that all day long. But we are going to talk about the journey of love. And we're going to talk about the phases that people go through as they interact with your organization. And slap my hand because I said as they interact, but it's as we interact, because we are members of our organizations as well. We always talk about the members of our organization as third person. But no, they is we. But I want us to focus on, we're going to talk about dating. And that is when your prospective members meet your organization. Those members who are 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years and never take a leadership role. Those are people, that's what I'm calling dating. Those are the daters. And then those people who are those of us that are in the room that somehow or the other got proposed to and actually said yes. We actually married the organization, and we're going to talk a little more about marriage and what that means and how you get to marriage. And basically, I'm preaching to the choir because you all have married your organization. And then we are going to talk about divorce. Has anyone been divorced? Okay. Does anyone still have a good relationship with your ex? And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about parting ways amicably and how you keep that relationship open. All right? As Jane mentioned, I am vice president of the Los Angeles Council, responsible for membership. I love this stuff. I love the Far West Ski Association. I love the Los Angeles Council. And I also love the Brotherhood of Skiers, which I'm the regional treasurer for the Western region. But most of all, I love our members. You know what I get a kick out of? Is seeing somebody doing something that they may not have thought that they could do, but they figured out how to do it, and they have that big grin from ear to ear. And I think you all are voyeurs too. I bet you get a kick out of seeing that as well, don't you? And that's who the leaders of ski clubs and ski organizations are. We're just a bunch of voyeurs that like to see people having fun. So let's talk about the journey of love and get into the phases. So dating, we talked about that. So that's when your prospective members might be looking you out and might be sort of on those dating sites. I heard somebody talk about meetup.com. What's that? That's a dating site. They're trying to figure out if they want to even give you a chance. And then you go on a first date. They come to your meeting or they go to an event, and they're actually finding out about your organization. How are they finding out about your organization? Talking to you and listening to what you say, how you say it, and who you say it to. So remember, if you're saying something bad about some people, they're hearing that. And they're thinking, well, if she says that about them, and she's supposed to like them, and she doesn't know me. So we have to recognize that we're on a date, and we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward. Getting acquainted is how they come back and they go on a couple of different trips. They begin to feel more comfortable with you, and they get to know you a little more, a little better. They figure out where they fit in to the organization. And then we're going to talk about proposing marriage, how you get wean them in to leadership. And then once you got them married, how do you keep them excited about it? How do you take them from the honeymoon to that every day, we need you to come to the meeting on time with your report. We need you to make those phone calls that you needed to make. But then how do you rejuvenate that relationship? And then we talked about when they leave, what you do there. We'll talk more about that. So I'd like to get right into it. I know that we didn't give you memo pads or what have you, but hopefully you have some paper or you're able to write in, find some white space in your program. But we want to have you write down a couple of things that made you fall in love with your club. And then we're going to talk about, I want to have people tell me where they are in that journey of love. And then where's your organization? And we'll be able to answer some questions. And then who do you want to marry? What type of person would be a good fit for your organization? And then what can you do to get them to want to marry you? So I'm going to give you a few minutes to just think through those and make some notes there. And then we're going to ask some people to give some of their responses. So go ahead now, take a couple minutes to write down what made you fall in love with your organization. Does anybody do I have a volunteer that wants to tell us why they fell in love with their organization? Oh, Michael, that's a great one, because if this ain't love, I don't know what is.
I'll try to be very brief. It's all about relationships. It's all about what I gain from you. And a lot of that is information. Some of it is approval, but not all. it's a learning process as to what I am about a person. And from all of you, you give me that information that's going to make me better. That's a lot of what I gain out of this organization from the club level on up. And I can tell you many examples, but I'm going to wait till you come to me to ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Yes. Who else? Yes.
I'm Sandy Schaub. I'm with Ski and Tea Ski Club, which is an all-woman ski club. And I think the most important thing with my club was interpersonal relationships and the camaraderie that the club provides me, and the activities and the fun.
The interpersonal relationships, the activities, and the fun. Well, that'll make you fall in love, right? Very good. Yes.
So when I originally came into the system, I was a non-skier, and I was totally new to the area. And so the local club made me feel welcome to the area because I was new. They kind of held my hand in the process of figuring out how to learn how to ski, and I just always felt like somebody was there to sort of help me through that process, and that was really a good environment initially.
You were new to the area. You had somebody that, or an organization that sort of made that transition good for you, and they gave you the opportunity to do some things that you hadn't been able to do yet, and that made an impact. Very good, very good. Thank you. Yes.
So I'm also a member of Ski and Tea Ski Club, and I grew up on Mount Hood, and yet when I became an adult and started doing adult skiing, I always felt sort of alone on the slopes. And when I joined Ski Ante, all of a sudden that disappeared because I had this huge amount of club camaraderie. All these women who, even though I was much younger than a lot of them, were looking out after me and saying, hey, you're not alone here. You've always got someone here with you, to ski with you, to pick you up if you fall down, to make sure you don't feel embarrassed by the fact that you fell down, which I'm still doing 60 years later. And there's a certain pull because the membership has been more or less consistent in my lifetime because I joined young and I committed to skiing young.
Now that I did want to, because I joined what I call to be young. I think I was 20-something when you just calculated my age. But when I joined the organizations and started skiing, and they were older than me. So I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing to come into when a younger person comes into an organization and there are older people there. Let me tell you, the older people that I hung out with in the ski organization was having more fun than the younger people that I was hanging out with through work or other organizations. So I see some people who don't have as silver hair here, and I venture to say that they probably feel the same way. So don't necessarily think that you have to fake your age and pretend that you're not older. It's fine, because younger people that want to be a part of that organization, that won't stop them. Now, granted, most of us were about 20-something, 30-something when we started with the organization. But we have to understand that organizations, just like people, go through that life cycle. So you're single, you come in, you're looking for fun people, you find them in the organization or outside of the organization, and then you kind of move away. You have children. Some of the clubs are very good at or have family-oriented activities. Some clubs are adult and single-oriented, and that's fine. We're going to talk about your DNA in a couple of seconds, but We'll get into that. But you really want to understand and be true. Last year we talked about brand, but be true to your DNA. And there's nothing wrong with a party and ski club. You don't always have to ski all from 8 to 4. It's fine to stop off at 3:30 and get to happy hour quickly. But stay and support your DNA. So whatever your club's DNA is, support that and stick with it and make it happen. Okay. So where you are in the journey of love, I venture to say that many of you've already married your organization. How many people have been in a leadership role in your club or council for less than 5 years? Oh, see there? You all thought that that everybody was a veteran. So there are people that just got married and they're still feeling the newness. How many have been married to your organization from 5 to 15 years? Very good. How many people have been married to your organization for greater than 15 years? Wow, 45 years. Who said that? You look 45. Yet another reason why ski clubs are valuable, ski clubs are still relevant people, is because it gives people at whatever level they are, they can find somebody that will wait and stay with them. And they can also find somebody that does not want to wait, and let's go through the single line and get on this lift chair so we can get back down. So I want everyone to understand it's kind of frustrating to me when I hear us beat ourselves up and we say, are ski clubs still relevant? Do we have a place in the industry? It's pretty obvious that somebody believes ski clubs have a place in the industry because we have all of these industry people paying a lot of money to come and connect with us. So don't dare go to your board and let them bring you down and let them have you question where you're supposed to be and the impact. You all get people married. You all get people business opportunities. You all are amazing. So recognize that, embrace that. Love your organization, love yourselves, and love those people that are getting ready to get married to you. So your organization, many people's organizations started with a group of people that were single and wanted to do something fun together. And then at some point, they decided we really probably ought to put some organization to this. And different organizations are at different places in evolution. Many of the clubs have celebrated their 50th year in existence. The youngest clubs that I'm seeing are celebrating about 5 years in existence. But most of the clubs are celebrating somewhere around 30 to 40 years in existence. And just recognize that if a club started 30 years ago and its members were 25, 30, that now those members are probably 55, 60 in that area. And that's fine. But just understand that if your club wants to reach out to and attract younger people, here's the other thing. When they come, don't shut them out. Don't shut them down. Don't say, well, you just got here, or you don't understand how we do things here. Teach them. If they don't understand, let them expose them to it. take that time out to expose them to it. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm telling you how to stay married. So then who do you want to marry? There is a club that told me we only want 50s and 60-year-olds. We don't want any younger people. Do you think I said, what are you, crazy? No, I said fabulous. That's what you, if that's the DNA of your club, then let it be. Don't worry about trying to do what the industry or what common sense or what knowledgeable people, experts in the industry are saying. Don't worry about that. Just recognize that soon your club won't exist. But it's okay. There's a lot of clubs that have gone away. So, and then what can you do to make them want to marry you? So I think we already heard some of the things that attracted people, made people fall in love. So those are some of the things. Now, so what is love? When your members love you, they know, they trust, and they support you. They even attend your events and then tell other people about those events and bring them with them. They will buy stuff and pay a lot of money just because it has your name on it. Did I really need this vest? And did I need it with 10 colors of stitching? This is a very expensive vest. That's why I wear it all the time. They forgive you when things go wrong. Oops, I forgot. Your name's not on the list. Oh, were you supposed to do that? Oh, sorry about that. But they recognize it wasn't personal, or maybe it was personal, but you're not going to stop my fun. And they move on. And then they return year after year. Again, I mentioned that you change people's lives. So recognize that. You bring people together for relationships, for travel, and opportunities to learn skills. And let me talk a little bit about that. Because there are people, before they joined the ski clubs, they never had anyone follow them. They never had anyone listen to them. They never had someone, or they never created a budget with revenue. They pretty much may not really understand revenue and expenses. And then to actually figure out, oh, you need to multiply the number of people that are doing this by the amount that you're charging them to do it, and that's going to generate the revenue for the organization. They also never had an opportunity to get 50 people to join them on something that they just came up with and said, you know what I want to do? And then they went to the ski club and they said, yeah, let's do it. That lets them do something that they wanted to do, and they had no one in their family that would actually listen to them because they thought they were crazy. They just happened to have 50 other crazy people in the local ski club. And you all said, yeah, let's do it. Here's my $50 deposit. Do you know how life-changing that is for somebody to come up with an idea for a trip or an event or an activity, and then they have $10,000 of revenue of people who wanted to go on that trip or participate in that event? That makes them fall in love. And I remember when I used to not be able to use all my vacation days. I've actually come up with a proposal for companies to let me borrow other people's vacation days. Because if they're not using them, why couldn't I use it? So now, let's do a little exercise. Let's write down 3 examples of evidence that your members love your organization. And then 3 reasons why your members might love your organization. And then I'm going to ask for a couple of volunteers. Do I have a volunteer? Remember, there's candy in the deal.
They pay their dues.
We have longevity of membership.
Longevity of membership, and they pay their dues. And that's important. It's amazing to me. I'm vice president of membership for LA Council, and I just send out an email to the 25 clubs of the LA Council, and I say, hi, send your check here, and fill out this form and send it back to me. And they actually send checks. And I'm thinking, well, that's pretty good. But it does say a lot when people pay their dues. That's a great example that you're in the right place. That's when you know you're on to something, is when they fill up your trip, when they show up and send their money in. So there's a lot of things. I always say vote by your dollars, vote with your wallet. And that's what we end up seeing people do. Has anyone heard the term of swapping DNA? Yeah. Well, not that DNA. Decisions, notifications, and actions. So this is the DNA that we're talking about. How your members and your organization thinks and makes decisions. And then notifications, how they want to be notified or communicated with. And then the actions, how your organization or your members behave or misbehave on a trip. That's your DNA. So we want to make sure that you are true to your DNA. Does your organization have a match in DNA with your members? So can someone tell me how their organization makes decisions, and does it match with how your members want to have decisions made? Does anyone do surveys? Mm-hmm. And do you use those surveys to make your decisions about how your organization is going to operate? You try to. Who has a very good response rate on their surveys? Yeah, I'm looking for some best practices. I was going to have you do a workshop. So. Well, I happen to know, and she didn't say anything, but Four Seasons West, they do a great job of surveys. You know what they do? They don't let you leave the bus until you turn in your survey. You can't get off the bus. It's like, did you turn in your survey? I gave it to, no, hand it to me. I went on a trip with them, and I was like, I wasn't going to do the survey. I'm not, I'm part of another club. They were like, do the survey. So they have a very good, and after every activity, they're collecting that information. They actually have, it's like an analysis squad, an analytics squad, who actually, they've collected, let's see, Four Seasons West, you celebrated your 50th year anniversary this past year, right? Yes. They've collected decades of surveys. Joe Vinson, he said that they could tell some of the trends that were coming up in the organization They could see snowboarding growing before it actually took off and bloomed. They were able to make decisions based on the trends that they were seeing coming up. Isn't that amazing? As opposed to asking what happened in the past. So I highly recommend that you think about surveying on a more frequent basis, put that information into a database, and keep that available for future administrations. They'll love you for it. So that's when I say, how does your organization make decisions? You want to make decisions based on what the members, the voice of the members. And then notification, we'll talk more about that, but how you communicate with your organizations, with your membership, and then as we mentioned, how you behave or misbehave. So let's go into fun-loving living. This is what we do as organizations. We want to do what is important, and we want to provide members what they desire. Sometimes they don't even know what they desire. When you ask them, so where do you want to go? They're like, I don't know. But they will vote with their wallet. You want to give them an opportunity for social interaction. That's pretty much consistent across the ski clubs. And then give them unique venues. We already know this, I'm preaching to the choir. But also recognize that just because you've done it 5 times doesn't mean everybody has done it 5 times. So keep an eye out, an ear out for what are those things that would be adventurous, and change it up. Try to keep a little novelty. Plan your calendar by activity themes. That gives people the opportunity to sort of make sense out of what you're doing. I love that the Far West Ski Association has the international trips, the domestic trips, and so that or North American trips. That gives you an ability to know what you're expecting. You get kind of anticipate what you're going to get. Now, where within those areas, they keep it new and keep it fresh. And then assign a passionate chair. I know that we need people and we need bodies badly, but every body ain't the right body. You need to have something or someone who really cares about that event, that activity. And you may want to think of, well, let's start tapping into the things that people want to make happen. Let's do those, even though they may not be what we always do. But if it's something that somebody is more passionate about, you'll have a better outcome. I'd like to have you write down 3 examples of things that your members love. Whether it's who they love to be around, what they like to do, when they like to do it, where they like to do it, and then how they like to do it. Actually, just give me one good scenario that would tie out those things. So just take a few seconds now to write down one example of things that your members love. And that's the who, what, when, where, how. So who can tell me who your members love to be around? I'm sorry?
Far West members,
Far West members. What type of Far West members?
people who come to convention.
Sorry.
So they want to be around Far West members. What is it about Far West members that come to convention? What is it about them? There we go. See, I just had to. They want to be around fun-loving people. We attract fun-loving people, so we automatically give them the opportunity to be around fun-loving people. Okay, what are some of the things that who wants to give me what your members love to do?
We love to dance.
Her members love to dance, and they give their members a list of activities and opportunities to go and dance. And they there's something every Friday they try to do as their organization. Well, isn't that great? What's the name of your ski club? Rusty Bindings. She wanted to change the name, but the old timers wouldn't let her. Well, now there you go. Thank goodness they didn't change the name, because Rusty Bindings tells you something about brand, but we won't go into that session. Yes.
Our members like to drink.
What's the name of your ski club where the members like to drink? Slow Skiers. There you go. So that club, Slow Skiers, out of San Luis Obispo, but San Luis Obispo. And their club, their members like to drink, so they have wine downs, you said. Summer wine downs? Yeah. And not W-I-N-D, they're serious, W-I-N-E. So they like to come together and have socials and have it over wine. And some of their members say, well, I'm not coming to the meeting, but I'll be at the wine down though. So guess what they probably do? They make the wine down a little bit of a meeting. They get the information to them in the wine down. If you can't get them to the mountain, do something. You know what it is. Fabulous. Is there anyone who has some things about when their members like to do some things?
Much like my new friend here. Our club has a variety of interests, and so our members want to do something every year. And one of our long-term members described the Ski Hawks in Olympia, Washington, as a club that likes to drink, and occasionally they go skiing, they go kayaking, they go hiking, and they do socials and watch the Super Bowl of the Seahawks. But you know, we go to each other's houses, so they like to do something all year round, and not all of them do all of those activities. So our members or our board really need to ensure that they have plans or a variety of activities all year.
Very good. And what was the name of your ski club? Ski Hawks. Seattle? Very good. And so their club, when we talk about when, their club members want to do things at all times of the year. And on Fridays for social hour. Very good. So, you know, and there are some organizations that pretty much take the summer off. Are there any organizations that take the summer off? Yeah, that's fine. And then are there organizations that are doing something all year long? It's, yeah. Very good. No, again, it's how your DNA is and what your members desire and how they want your organization to interact with them. What about where? Is there anything that anybody that has something that their members love to do in certain places? Yes.
Anywhere hiking is. We have a hiking club in the summer. It's part of our club. And we'll go to Pasadena and do a day hike, or we'll go to the desert and do some hiking. And we actually have a trip every year where the leader takes them to another state. They're going to Alaska this year in the summer.
So that's very, very valuable, is to understand how your people want to be communicated with. We talked about email. Everyone, I know you already email. Who uses Constant Contact for your email services?
There's a service similar to Constant Contact called Benchmark emails.
Benchmark.
We use that.
Okay. MailChimp. Actually, thank you. I wasn't doing a commercial for Constant Contact, but who uses an email service for their? There we go. Okay, very good. That's valuable because you really could customize some things with their names in their newsletter as well. In the newsletter or in your email or your communications, who actually celebrates birthdays? Oh, okay, very good. So you have a list of whose birthday is this month and that type of thing. Very good. That is very key, is to have something that people can see. People can take with them, other people can see, they can share, forward it, or what have you. So you definitely want to have that. Very good. And then phone. Who actually calls? Does anyone have calling trees anymore? Really? Wonderful. Very good. And texting. Okay, so who uses a text service? Do you have a text service? No. Okay, you just text, and you have everybody's phone numbers. We did have that as a workshop a couple years ago, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And we were surprised to see how many people take text and act on them immediately. Yes.
On our social media, on our Facebook, I run that, and so I get messaged all the time as activities approach and questions and how do we.
By having it on her social media, her alerts on social media, she gets those reminders and she gets those texts to her phone, so she's basically buzzing all the time.
One of the things that's becoming very popular is messaging people while we're traveling. The last couple of times that I've taken people out of the country, we download an app and we use that app with our internet service. And so if new changes come on the trip, I'll text them right away. We send pictures to each other that way as well. It's been really popular.
What's the app? What is it?
Let me look it up and I'll tell you. Yeah, because I forget the name right now.
There's an international called WhatsApp that's free, and when you're international calling.
WhatsApp, it's WhatsApp, yeah. Yeah, that's what I've used.
I'm not sure if this falls under social media or under text, but it's something in between. Google Groups. We set up a Google group for our club. People sign up to it themselves. I would say that almost half of our members have signed up for it. And then the good thing about it is it's not just a one-way communication. Anybody can contribute. They can even post pictures there. They can tell other members about their experiences. And they can use it to say, hey, I'm going skiing this Sunday. Does anybody want to join me?
Fabulous, fabulous. Do other organizations use Google Groups? No? Okay. There's something for you. That's worth the trip. Okay, very good. All right, wonderful. And then, of course, when you say it, it's always challenging when you get a notice about something that you really wanted to do, and it's tomorrow. You know? So you want to make sure that, of course, you are time sensitive and definitely recognizing people's schedules. Showing members that you love them. What do you do to love your members? Are there organizations, what are some of the ways that you show love to your members when who hugs their members? Okay, we're about half, all right. What do the other half of you do?
Shake hands.
Shake hands, okay. Shake hands, yes.
We fund a couple events that,
Yeah.
a year that the club pays for, pizza party.
Okay, so you have events that are free for people to come, and that gives them the opportunity to socialize. Yeah. What can you do to love them more? Is that on the video? She said, kiss them. Yes.
I have a proposal. That's something that we've been discussing actually within our own club. It's maybe a little bit controversial, but some of our members, at least like on the board, that are the ones that are organizing events, they think that if we organize a social event, that's all we have to do. Provide a venue, provide some food and drink, and everybody will be happy. And they're saying we don't need anything extra in addition to that because people just want to get together and talk to each other. But I believe that something more that we could do is to provide some kind of entertainment at each of these events. One of the things that I witnessed when I first joined the club was they were, a group of them were reenacting, during a public meeting, they were reenacting one of their past ski trips. They literally had a cutout of a bus with windows, and then they get behind the windows like and they reenact how they went from one place to another in Sweden. Something happened here, something happened there. And I just went home from that meeting thinking, boy, these people have fun. I want to be part of that.
I love that. I love that. So what Emilio said was that they have entertainment. He said looking at having entertainment at events or meetings. And one of the challenges is that he feels, or some of the board feels that, well, no, we don't have to do anything. Let's just give them the build it and they will come, that type of activity. But he really mentioned that it hit him when he was at an event and the attendees reenacted their trip. And they built a little cutout of the bus and that type of thing. I think that is fabulous. And one of the things that we do have as organizations like ours is we have our own, we entertain ourselves. So they are kind of correct in that you build it, they'll come and they'll entertain each other. But there's also that part of the new people who don't have those connections and those relationships. And you have to understand that your members haven't seen each other for maybe weeks or maybe months, or maybe even some of them haven't seen each other for years. And when they come together, what do? They talk to each other. They're like, oh my goodness, it is great to see you. How have you been doing? How's the family, etc. But those new people, they kind of get left out. And the way to make love to them is to make sure that you have something that engages them.
New people is sign up for something. Don't just go to the TGIF every Friday and expect to fit in, or into the general meeting. This is a big group of people. They all look like they know each other. Sign up for something. You'll get to know some people on a group of people, but then you have something in common.
Which club are you in? Altair Ski and Sports. And she had said that, yes, the new members do have a role in this. They do have a responsibility. And it's not bad to let them know how to get the most out of the experience. Let them know, and the activity that she mentioned was sign up for something. Regardless of if it's something that you've always wanted to do or not, but sign up for something because you're going to meet people there and you'll be able to become part of the in crowd. What Iris was talking about was for the Snowbuster Ski Club that we have an event called Diva for a Day. So it's a day of pampering. and it's for the ladies. Sorry, guys. But the guys do the pampering. Looks like that was a winner. But it's a day of, it's from 11 till 3 on a Sunday, and but it's an opportunity for ladies to come, bring girlfriends, mothers, daughters, aunts, what have you. They come for a brunch, and then the men serve the brunch, and then back rubs, strawberries, whipped cream, chocolate. Okay, I'm not going to get much more into it, but those videotapes are going, so. But it's good, clean fun. And it was so much fun, I'll have to say that when I moved to Dallas, I took it to Dallas, and it was a hit there too. But yes, so the point though is giving something unique, and giving giving individuals an opportunity to do something that's memorable. And Iris mentioned that the Snowbusters, for each attendee, each of the ladies gets, and actually each of the men too, gets a pin that with the logo for that year's Diva for a Day. And the veterans bring their pins, wear their pins, and have those. So it really, that speaks to recognition. So recognizing your attendees in this case, recognizing your attendees for supporting you over those years. So that's something that you want to look at to love people more in that recognition. So these are some of the things. We did a workshop before, and you may not be able to read this, but I'll go ahead and read some of the ones to you. But to highlight members in your newsletters, highlight achievements. When someone is a realtor and they made an achievement, then, or if they are in their personal business or personal life, there were some achievements, as well as their birthdays. Coupons and discounts for different activities, frequent flyer discounts for those people that participate on a long-standing and recurring basis. Club apparel. So one of the things that it's expensive to have t-shirts and different shirts and what have you, but it is a double win for you. So when you have shirts and logos and people are advertising for you, that's great for the organization, and as well people enjoy your apparel. Certificates of appreciation, sending birthday cards, greeting cards, congratulations, thank you cards. Personal calls and visits, we heard that you do that. How about supporting members' causes? So if someone has a walk or a run that they're doing and your organization supports that, wouldn't that be valuable? Recognition of life and career achievements, appointing ambassadors, and we were talking about big brother, big sister type of things, new member orientation, and then as well group community event, park cleanups and those types of things. Those are great activities for being able to bring people together and make an impact. When we talked about ambassadors, and that is assigning someone to, or a group of people to be an ambassador for those people that are new, but not to say, hey, I haven't seen you before. Are you new? You know, that type of thing, but to just engage them and ask them, so great, we're glad you made it over, and we know that you could have gone plenty places. Have you gone skiing before, etc.? You snowboarding, what have you? And as well, in communication, people don't read anymore. people like to watch the pretty pictures and videos. So we scroll and scan, and we post and share sometimes. But when you click something, how long do you stay there? You know, we talk about the millennials that have a short attention span, but guess what? We all have a short attention span. So images and videos are king. Many times, though, people won't watch your 7-minute video, but they'll watch the first 30, 45 seconds or what have you. One great thing about YouTube, when you post something, it'll actually show you in the analytics. It'll show you how far people watched your video. So you can actually tell what message is getting out there. So one of the things that I like to say is to make love tapes. So make some tapes of people enjoying your events and your activities. And you can have testimonials sprinkled in there as well. These are activities that would resonate with people that either are potential members, maybe even prospective supporters and donors. But you want to have something that will show who your organization is and what you do and how you do it. So grooming leaders. So we're now moving in from these are your members, and now you want to bring them into leadership role. So you want to expose them gently to leadership. Let them have a little role or a little responsibility, and then ease them in gently. Let them visualize leading. Let them see the back end, what's behind the curtain. Let them see the budget information, your financials, etc. And then recognize them for their smaller achievements, but also recognize the leaders who are there already and who are generating the buzz and making the organization happen. Because when they see that, your prospective leaders see that you recognize the existing leaders, then they understand, oh, that could be me too. And recruit the leaders. I don't think I have to tell you that. But one thing that I will say is that sometimes we grow leaders up through the organization. Well, you might also look at other organizations, and if you see someone that's a leader in that organization and they might be interested in skiing and coming in, then you might be able to recruit them in if they have accounting background, and you say, would you be interested in, So proposing marriage. Succession planning is, for me, it's the biggest deal. Because that fuels the future. You have to replace your resignation, and you want to have energized elections. It's a little tough when you have the same people that are the only ones running, and everybody else is sitting there saying, I'm voting for him, I'm voting for her. So it's great when you can tell a really energized or an active organization by their election ballot.
Well, we're going to see that tomorrow.
Yes, most definitely. All right. So marriage. Moving in, we're going to talk really briefly about from the budgeting standpoint, but this is really what you want to look at from once you have a leader in. You want to make sure that they understand some of the finances and how to run the organization. So love and finance, champagne taste and a beer budget. You really want to look at how your organizations, again, the DNA of your organization. You want to decide, are we the organization that does things at a high level, or do our members want to save money and be able to get there and be able to do a lot with a little, or just do a little with a lot? So you can decide where your organization fits in there. And one of the things that I definitely believe that we all have challenges with are we're all going to have social successes. We always have fun. But sometimes it becomes a fiscal flop. And I'm really big on making sure that we're able to continue our organizations and for the future. And we have to generate funds so our organizations can continue. So you want to understand how expensive it is to run your organization, to basically know that you have to have these expenses, the electronic, your website, domain, any licenses and fees, supplies, telecommunication. A lot of times we underestimate the expenses of running the organization, but you want to definitely recognize that. And then, how much money does it take to do everything else that you want to do? Whether you want to have sponsorships from your organization, scholarships that you want to have, if you want to have different youth events, if you need seed money for different organizations or different activities, these are some of the things that might be more discretionary, but you still want to make sure you plan for them. So these were some organizations that did, they looked at the amount of money that it took for them to run their organization and then the amount of money for discretionary. And then how do you generate money to run your club? So membership fees, we talked about that. Are there clubs that don't have membership fees that have it's free to join your club? Four Seasons West and Snowbusters. Executive board, is there a membership fee for executive board? No, okay. Fundraising event revenue. Most of us have events that are fundraisers. Do you also generate revenue from your trips? You put in a margin, okay. Administrative fee, is there an administrative fee? Who does an administrative fee? You just add a margin on to lodging or lifts, something. Okay, very good. Donations. Who's good at getting donations? Who has sponsors? Okay. All right. I see an opportunity for a new workshop. Oh, okay, okay. So they do a raffle, and then they get donations, product donations from vendors as well as their members. So I see a couple of other people nodding that they have those. Great. So sponsorships. Who advertises? Who has advertisers in your newsletter or on your website? I know you guys do. Yeah. And what club is that?
Don Diego and San Diego.
Oh, Don Diego? Oh, Don Diego Ski Club in San Diego. Wonderful, thanks. So love isn't free, but it's worth it. Here's just the background on generating your budget, making sure you create your budget, multiplying the number of people by the amount of the cost. And then you want to make sure as you're doing your budget, be realistic. I always chuckle when I'm working in an organization and they say, oh, well, we need to make more money. So let's say that we're going to have 200 people attend versus 150. Yep, that does it. We're good. Who does that in their budgeting process? Yes.
So the other thing is always have, when somebody's going to run a trip, you always say, oh, you want a 10% emergency type of, so when you're doing your budgeting for an event or whatever, you say, okay, it's going to cost $1,000, but put in a $100 reserve for emergencies that come up at the last minute where all of a sudden you have to spend some money because something didn't happen or whatever. So then at least when you say how much something's going to cost, you've already built in a little emergency fund.
Who puts in, when you're doing budgeting, who puts in a contingency? Yes. 10%, do you do 10%?
I'm not sure that I have a specific percentage, but one thing we do, we do add a little padding to everything, just in case. And But occasionally, we end up with quite a large surplus. Like recently we had a trip to Canada, and because the Canadian dollar fell in relation to the US dollar, we had quite a large surplus. What we try to do then is we actually try to give it back to people. And generally the way we do it is like, say, we had one more dinner that hadn't been planned before, you know, pay for another dinner.
So he mentioned that if they have some overage and the ability to incur additional expenses, they might offer more back to or for the event. As I thought you were going to say rebate, such as checks coming back. Oh, okay. Very nice. Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me say what she said. That several of the clubs have given money back once they determined that they didn't need that money as part of their budget that they had budgeted for, so they gave cash back to the attendees. Yes, sir.
We own our own ski lodge, so for us, having a big reserve is always important. We just replaced, for instance, almost all the windows, which is $8,000-9,000, you know, right, a 1 weekend expense. So and I know there's some more clubs who own their own real estate, all of a sudden having a reserve is very important. So we have some bonds that, you know, if something would happen.
Okay. So they have real estate. They have their own ski lodge. Which club is that?
We own the lodge in Truckee.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be in Truckee. I'm going to be in Truckee in a couple of months, so we'll talk. Was that Modesto? Modesto. Okay, very good. All right. But group love, this is loving others. And coming together for a shared purpose, goal, or activity. So who can you collaborate with? Other ski clubs, ski councils, Far West Ski Association, as well as the National Ski Council Federation, and then other organizations as well. Is there someone who collaborates, an organization that collaborates with other organizations on an event? Any examples? Yes.
The yearly trip that Far West does with UCLA Black Alumni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they have a trip that Four Seasons West does with the UCLA Black Alumni Association. So they do that, and that way, I'm sure the UCLA Black Alumni Association isn't skiing as many times as as Four Seasons West does. So then they're able to find members of the Alumni Association that might want to ski more frequently. They then can become a member of their club. So Far West Ski Association, preaching to the choir, you already know what the Far West Ski Association does, but it gives the opportunity to leverage a larger organization for your organizations. And then here are some of the benefits. And then as well, the National Ski Council Federation gives the opportunity for all of our clubs to offer benefits, member benefits to our members. The value of coming to the Far West, as well as the value of going to the National Ski Council Federation. Very good. Then other organizations, Jane mentioned what her organization does, but it gives you the opportunity to diversify your programming, give more offerings for your members, as well as increasing attendance and expanding the network for your members. They get a chance to meet other people that they may not have had an opportunity to meet. Leveraging the resources. So if one organization is a group of accountants, then you're looking for a treasurer, then the increased exposure of your brand. Actually, I had to put brand in there, but who actually has a media outreach or does press releases? Who gets good media coverage? Is there anyone who is really impressed with the media coverage that they get?
Our local newspaper has a section for us I can't remember how often it is, but we call it Ski Club Corner. And so we write up an article every month.
their local newspaper has a column that they actually contribute to. How amazing is that? Which club is that? Idaho Falls Ski Club. Oh, Idaho Falls Ski Club. Of course, that's right. Yes.
Get our brand out by making donations, and that's not why we do it, but the local newspaper will have a picture of our philanthropy chair handing a check to the women's shelter or whatever. And we do that 4 times a year, and we're a lot of people that said, hey, we didn't even know there was a ski club.
So by doing good, they get coverage. So they actually do donations to charitable organizations. And by doing that, they get coverage in the local paper. How fabulous is that? Do good and get good. And then, of course, increased efficiency. Now, why wouldn't we collaborate? I don't want to hit too close to home, but sometimes we feel like we know better. We're the organization, we're the leading organization, or we are concerned that somebody might steal our members. I've had meetings about that. And then the aversion to change. Just, well, if we do that, then we might lose control, and then they might take over the event. And then, of course, the not invented here syndrome. I've had bosses who I have to give them the opportunity to come up with the idea so that we can get it done. Yes.
We actually went through a recent change where we merged. I'm not gonna say merge, that's a bad term. We had to cooperate for financial reasons. And the first couple years was a little tough, you know? It was different. We had before done things differently. And then we had to start saying, oh, okay, I'm gonna fudge a little here, you're gonna fudge a little there, and eventually, you know, over time, I think this last year was probably our best year, because we finally all came together sort of on the same page.
And really realized, okay, we really need to work together. So they merged organizations, and they recognized that they weren't even speaking the same language, even though they were all race organizations, and they needed to merge and come together. And it was trouble. It was a challenge, because they had done things in their own way for so many years, and that was their tradition. And then they have to give those traditions up and to sort of give way to new things. Does that just doesn't feel good, does it? But they're together, and they're still talking, and they're here. How fabulous is that? Congratulations to you. And really briefly, divorce. We already talked about it. Some relationships end, okay? Lifestyle changes make people move away, or they just have to get away sometimes. Sometimes their desires may change. Like I said, recognize that it may not be personal, but it may be personal. But it doesn't have to be detrimental. So we can end amicably. Show appreciation for the time that they were there, because there's a high probability that they'll come back. And who's left and came back? Yeah. And I wouldn't have come back to the Snowbusters after I had to leave and move away to Dallas and New York. But as soon as I came back to Southern California, I just logged in and looked up to see where the Snowbusters were. And it was because we left on good terms. And they took me back because I didn't owe them any money. So, that's always helpful. But show appreciation, keep the door open, and stay in contact. So here's the climax. You already know, to plan activities the members love, communicate love, show them love, budget for love. Collaborate, spread love, and then leave in love. I want to thank you for your participation, for your attention, and for your collaboration. Congratulations, you've completed.